Okay guys, so if you've ever wondered how to build a website using only HTML and CSS, even if you've never used those languages before, this is the right tutorial for you. So we are going to start from scratch, from a blank slate. We are going to use specific tools for this as well. So I'm going to show you all the steps one by one. And by the end of this tutorial, you'll have a fully working website. And you'll end up with a beautiful website like this one with the menu section. So we have the logo, the menu itself, a call to action button. Underneath our hero section, as you can see, with a beautiful image in the background, the main heading, subheading, again, a call to action button. Underneath, we have an About Us section, so again a picture, a bit of text, and underneath our main services. And as you can see, if I hover on top, there's a slight effect applied to it as well, and I'm going to show you how to achieve that as well. And if you scroll down the page, we have our contact details, and right here a contact form, and I'm going to show you how to create this and how to make it work as well, so that you receive all these inquiries via email in your mailbox. And finally, our copyright claim right here at the bottom. And I'm going to show you the best tools to use to create such a website. So this is the HTML code that we are going to create together. And this is the CSS code that goes with it to make it look beautiful and gorgeous in the front end. Now, if you've ever wondered how you can make money and monetize those skills, you can go and watch this video here, how to make money using only HTML and CSS. And as always, I'll leave the link in the description below. But for now, let's get started with the basics. Okay guys, so let's get started. So we're going to start with the basics. So which tool should you use first to create your HTML and CSS files? Well, personally, I'm using Notepad++, but this could be anything. There's a few tools available for free online. The most popular one would be Visual Studio Code. This is from Microsoft themselves, Atom and Brackets. So this is from Adobe Brackets here. They're all equally good, you know, it doesn't really matter which one you use. Just to prove the point here, I'm using a very basic one. It's just a Notepad++, so it's like a text editor. And even with just that, you can create a HTML and CSS website. Very good. So first, you need to create your initial file. So this should normally be called index.html. And then if you create additional pages, it could be aboutus.html, and then maybe contact.html, and so on and so on. Okay, so the first page you are going to create should be named index.html, like this one. Okay, and this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to go to File, I'm going to click Save As, and I select my drive here, and I'm going to call this index.html, and then save. And now let me show you in my file explorer. So this is basically my local drive L, and this is index.html. Now if I double click on this, it will open that with your default web browser. In my case, it is Google Chrome. Okay, so I'm just gonna double click on it. Excellent. As you can see, this is a preview. Obviously our file is empty, so it's not gonna show anything. So let's type some text here. Okay, so type some text as an example. Okay, I'm just gonna save, Control S, and then refresh. And as you can see, now we have some text here as well. So let me zoom in a little bit, maybe to 200%. There you go. Perfect. So as you can see, this is the text we have here, and it's reflecting back on our index.html page in our web browser. Okay, so we can delete this now, and then let's start creating the main structure of our page. So for this, we're going to mention that this is a HTML document. So the first thing you need to type is HTML like this. And normally, if you are using Notepad++ like I am, it will add the closing bracket, the closing statement automatically. So basically, you have HTML and then /HTML. This is the closing statement, okay? And then here in between, type the rest of the structure. So normally, a web page has a head and a body. So here you type head, just like this, okay? And underneath, we're going to add the body, okay? There you go. So this is the basic structure of our page. So this is a HTML document. You have the head and the body. Inside the body, you're going to type the content that you want to display on your page. And in the head is all the different elements, like the link to your CSS page and things like this, okay? So let's take care of the content first. And again, for your content to display in the front end, you insert that inside your body tags here, okay? So I'm just going to type a first line, okay? So first line, just like this, okay? And then save. I'm going to refresh. As you can see, this is a first line. And if I type here a second line, okay, and then save and refresh. And as you can see, a first line, a second line here, but they don't display the same way here, is because in HTML, you need to add BR at the end, just like this, okay? And if I save this, as you can see, it will show properly. So this is basically like hitting the enter key. So carriage return basically, okay? And if you do the same with this one, then you can keep typing a third line and a fourth line. And that's basically how this goes, okay? So after this, you can also stylize your text using HTML directly from here without CSS. So let's say if you wanted to type some text in italic, simply use the I tag like this. So text in italic, okay? Now if I save and refresh here, as you can see, this one is in italic, okay? Now you can do the same in bold, in which case you use the letter B for bold, okay? So this text is in bold. And let's try this. Exactly like this. Text is in bold. And again, even though you use those tags, you need to add BR at the end to emulate the enter key. Okay. So if we refresh now, as you can see, this is displaying properly. Now there's another way of displaying text in bold letters. You can use the strong tag as well. So this is a strong text. Okay. So save and refresh here. And as you can see, they display the exact same way. So what's the difference between bold and strong? Well, that's the exact same in the front end. But if someone is visually impaired and using maybe a special device, strong will mention that this is important basically on their device. So that's the difference between the two. And then you can use H tags as well for headings or titles basically inside your content. So you can use H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, and so on. So let me show you. H1, okay? So this is a H1 heading. So again, I'm going to save and show in the front end. And there you go. As you can see, this is a big, bold heading. Very nice. Now, the difference with headings and the rest of the text, you don't need to add a BR at the end. It will automatically do that because this is a heading, okay? So if I type any text here, just to show you, okay? Any text. And I'm going to save, so Control S, there you go. As you can see, we'll automatically show the heading, and then the text underneath will be considered as a paragraph as part of this section here. So let's add a H2 tag underneath, okay? So H2, and this is a H2 tag, okay? Just like that, and I'm going to type some text underneath. So this is the paragraph as an example, okay? And then save, and then refresh. As you can see, H1 is here, much bigger than this one. And this is the paragraph underneath. It will align this and add a bit of spacing automatically. So that's basically the headings now. And then after this, you also have divisions, so the divs. So if you type div, just like this, as you can see, we'll create a div. And inside the div, you can add any content that you want, okay? So I'm just going to put a H2 here. So this is my title. And then here, this is the paragraph. Okay, very good. Now let's save this and refresh. Excellent. So as you can see, it looks the exact same as this one. So now what's the point of having a div compared to not having a div? Well, the div, you can give it a class name. So class equals, and then into air quotes, give it a name. So my div name, okay, just like this. So if I save this, now you can actually assign some CSS code directly to this section and stylize it exactly the way you want. So if I refresh here again, there's no changes. So let me expand this. So if you right click on this in your web browser and click inspect, especially in Chrome and any of them actually, you'll have your HTML code and CSS here. So obviously there is no CSS attached to it at the moment. So if I click on this one here, div class, my div name, okay, so this is my section. As you can see, it's highlighted in blue. If I click on the plus sign, I can now add some CSS code directly to this. So if I wanted to change the background color, so I type background -color, okay, and I select a color, let's say gray. There you go. As you can see now, my background is displaying in gray, okay. Now I can add some padding all around it. So padding, and let's say 50 pixels all around. And as you can see, it's added some breathing space all around it. Now I'm going to change the color maybe to something a bit lighter, maybe like this. Okay, very good. And now as you can see, our div has CSS attached to it, which will stylize our section itself, okay? Very good. So now all the CSS here that you're going to change will not be saved. So if I refresh the page here, all the CSS code is gone because this is just using our web browser. So now we need to create a physical file, an actual file, a CSS file, where we're going to load all these changes that we want to make, okay? So let's bring back our browser here. So this is our root folder. We have the index.html. What I'm going to do now is to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it CSS, just like this, okay? And inside that folder, we are going to insert our CSS file, okay? So we can create a new file here. And let's give it a name. So this one is going to be style.css. Very good. So let me bring this back to the other screen. Excellent. So we can close this for now. And let's bring back Notepad++. Very good. So I'm going to open our file. So open and then CSS style.css. Very good. And now all the changes we're going to add here should reflect in the front end. But before we do that, there is one more thing we need to do. We go to index.html. And remember, we had a head. We didn't add anything to our head yet. So now we need to link our CSS styling page to our head here first. Okay, so let's do that together. So this is to link. And what are we linking here? It's a CSS page, okay? So we need to set the relationship. So rel equals, and here you're going to say it's a style sheet. Okay, just like this. Perfect. And now you need to define where that file is located. So we're going to type href equals, and then where that file is located in relation to your actual file. So this is in the root folder. We have index.html, as you can see, a root folder. So they have to go first into CSS / and then style.css. This is basically what we called it. And then close this section here and then save. Okay, so let's put this to the test now. Normally, if we add anything in our style CSS, it should reflect in the front end. So we have the one that we tried. So let me paste it here. So there you go, my div name, and we had the background color set to gray and a padding of 50 pixels. So save this and refresh. And as you can see, now it shows exactly the way we have it here in the front end. And then you can customize literally every aspect of your page using CSS. So at the moment, we've set the CSS code for the div here, our division. But if you go back here, as you can see, you have the h2 tag as well. And maybe you can set our paragraph as a paragraph as well. And then we can add CSS for all of them. So P here stands for paragraph. I'm going to put this at the end, just like this. Okay, so save. So let's expand this and let's inspect our paragraph section here. So inspect. As you can see, this is set as a paragraph and we have the H2 title. Now you can set the font that you want, maybe the color as well, the size of your font, maybe the thickness, the weight of it and all that, okay? So let's say if you want all your paragraph to be the same, you can select this and then click on the plus sign and then we can set our CSS code, okay? So maybe you want to change the font size to perhaps set 12 pixels, just like this, okay? And then you could have as well maybe the font family. You can select which family you want to have exactly. So this could be Lato, for instance, or maybe Arial, or maybe Montserrat, which is a very popular one, okay? And then if you select Montserrat, you can have that in different weight and thicknesses. So you could have maybe font weight, okay? And then you can see you can select between 100 up to 900. So 100 will be ultra thin, just like this. And if you go for 900 is super bold, black actually, you know, and 600 is bold, I think, and 800 as well, and 900 is black. As you can see, you can put more emphasis on your text. So let's go maybe with 200. As you can see, now you can stylize the content here exactly the way you want, okay? And then you can do the same with your title. So if you go to H2 here, you could do the same, you know. So let's change the color. So for this is just color, just like this, okay? And let's go maybe with white, just like that, okay? Perfect. And again, you can change the font family, the font size. So let's say font size. And here, let's try maybe 24 pixels or maybe more. And then you can use your keys as well, you know, to increase the title up and down if you're using the keyboard, you know. And then you have a quick preview of what it looks like. So if you're happy enough with this, just leave it like that. And now we have the H2 tags, okay? So if you copy this now, Control-C, and then insert that in your CSS code here, Control-V, and then we can do the same with the other section, the P here, as you can see for the paragraph, and then Control-C, And again, I'm going to insert it here, Control V, then save. And then if you close this and refresh, you can see that our CSS, our styling sheet is actually in place and everything is displaying exactly the way we wanted it, okay? So that means that if you go back to your index.html and if I copy this div underneath, let's copy this divider here, then save and refresh. As you can see, now you have two different dividers displaying on top of each other. Now, maybe you want to divide this in half, okay? Maybe you want 50% here and 50% and display them as two different columns. Let me show you how you can do that. So as you can see, you have one divider, a second divider here. So what we need to do is basically insert this into a container and then we can set the container to display 50-50, okay? So what we're going to do is to create the container now on the outside. So this is a div again, okay? So grab the trailing tag here and put it here. And what we're going to do is to indent this. So select this and then tab. Very good. And then we can indent those as well. So it's easier to read, you know. You need to keep a hierarchy. As you can see, this is our main div. These are internal divs, dividers, okay? And inside this, you have that code. So it's easier to read. It's always better to keep a nice, proper hierarchy when you work on your code. So this one, we're going to give it a name, okay? So class equals, and let's call it, I don't know, flex container as an example, okay? And now let's delete what's on top here. These were examples, so we don't need that. We're just going to try to keep a clean code. As you can see, you have the head, body, and then your div here, which is the flex container. We have my div name and my div name. And now we can configure this using CSS. Okay, so let me save this and refresh. Very good. So this is what it looks like now. So let's apply some CSS code. So we need to apply CSS code for our flex container and also my div name. Okay, so we go to style.css. So let's start with flex container. Okay, and then open those brackets and we'll close it here just like this. Okay, and in the middle we can insert something. So here we're going to display first everything as flex. So these are flex properties which will allow for a responsive layout here by the side. So if I open this at the moment, as you can see, the width will change, but they're not responsive at all. They display on top of each other. So what we need is a flex container so we can divide that and display them side by side. So after this, how are we going to justify the content? Justify and then content. Okay. We're going to say maybe space around, okay, space around for this one. And then we're going to have the flex wrap as well. And for this, we're going to select wrap as a property. So that's it for the flex container. So let's save this for now. I'm going to save this and refresh. As you can see, this is basically shaping well. And now we need to add our property for my div name. I'm just going to fetch this for a second. Okay, we go back here, dot, and then again, we're going to enter our CSS properties. Now for this, we're going to use flex properties as well, but we're going to assign that to our specific divider here. Okay, so flex. And then for the flex properties, we have three different properties to set. So flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis. So here we're going to set this to 0, 0, and then 48%, because that's the only one we need is the flex basis. The rest can stay exactly the same. Then we need to set the box sizing into, let's say, probably border box, I would say, you know, sizing. Border box, yes, we go with border box, I suppose. Yeah, okay, let's go with that. And let's set a bit of margin as well. Let's set this to 1%, okay? So let's save this, see what it looks like. And there you go. So as you can see, now we have two different columns. So this is basically our main container. So flex container all around it. And based on our properties here, we set this as flex. And we applied 48% for each. So as you can see, this is fully responsive as well. And it displays absolutely fine, you know. So what if you wanted to add 3 of them instead of 2? It's very easy. Go back here, select one of them, Control C, a bit of spacing. There you go. And let's align this properly. So I'm going to save. And now we refresh. And as you can see, they are not displaying side by side. Again, it's because here we have it set to 48%. So let's try maybe 32, see what it looks like. Okay. And no, 32 is not enough. Let's try maybe 30%. You have to play around sometimes, you know. So let's refresh and let's see. And there you go. So the width allows for 3 And obviously, if it's a smaller screen, Flex Container will not allow more than 2, in which case we could actually make it fully responsive. So if I was to expand this a little bit, as you can see, this is fine, up to here, perfect. But once we come to a smaller screen, so maybe a tablet or a phone, this doesn't align properly, to be honest, So what we need to do now is to implement some CSS coding for it to be fully responsive so that they will display differently on a tablet or a mobile phone, obviously, So for this, we're going to insert a bit of CSS code. So let me show you the formula here. So it's the same as this, so my div name, and then you have the flex properties here. But in this case, we're going to set it for a specific width. As you can see, 668, which would be a tablet in portrait mode. And as you can see, you set this as at media, max width 768, and in which case the flex properties will be set to 100%. So let me show you the result. Now, if you refresh, as you can see, it's going to take the full width. So pretend that this is maybe, I don't know, a mobile phone or something like this, So you can scroll up and down. It's displaying full width instead of on top of each other or side by side. Now, if I increase the width, it should normally change automatically, as you can see, to 3 different columns and not stacked up on top of each other like we have for smaller devices. So as you can see, this is how you can implement responsive layout on your website, okay? So let me bring this back here. So from time to time, as you work on your website, you might want to implement some tests and disable maybe some features that you have here without deleting everything because you might want to use it later on. You can actually comment out some part of your CSS code as you work on it without deleting everything because you might want to use that later, So all you need to do is basically type / asterisk, as you can see, that's gone green. And then at the end, the closing statement is asterisk /. And now if you save this and refresh, as you can see, we're back to the previous property without the max width, okay? So I'm just going to zoom in here maybe to 150% for the preview, and let's carry on with the design of our page. Okay, so let's add a section here underneath. So this could be maybe your services, maybe you do web design, you say a logo design and also printing or something like this, And then underneath here, what can we add? Maybe about us. So you have a picture of yourself, okay? And maybe about us. So my name is Dave, I'm a web designer, okay? So this could be maybe, I don't know, 30% and then 70% here by the side. And we have 2 different columns. So how can you do so? Well, let me show you, okay? So we go back here and we're going to create this section underneath or on top, maybe, it doesn't matter, maybe on top, okay? So let's go back to the top here. So we're going to create a div again, okay? So this is our main div, and this one, we're going to call it class flex container as well. So Control-C and then Control-V. And then inside here, we're going to add 2 divs, okay? So the first div, there you go. And then the second one. Perfect. So this one, we're going to call it maybe about us. About -us. And the same with the second one, okay? So Control-C now, and then Control-V here. So this is our About Us section, and we'll have 2 equal sections. So in here, we're going to insert an image, and right there, we're going to put a heading, so maybe H4, or maybe H3, H2. Let's go with H2, okay? H2, and we're going to say, hi, I'm David. That's our title. And then a paragraph underneath. Okay, so let's say maybe I'm David, a web designer based in Dublin, Ireland, and da-da-dee-da-da-da. So type your text here, type your text here, whatever. Okay, so let's save this for now. And right here, we're going to insert an image. So again, for this, what we need to do is to create a new folder. So right here, as you can see, we have index.html, we have CSS. So create a new folder, and let's call this one images. And inside that folder, I'm going to insert an image. So for an image, this is the tag that you use, img, and then src equals, and then put the destination file here. So for us, it's images / and the file name that I've selected, picname.jpg, just like this. Okay, so if you close this already, it should work. So let's refresh. There goes. You can see there's a big image here, way too big, but anyways. And then because a lot of people will look for images on Google, you can put an alt here. So ALT, and then this is basically the description. So maybe Mr. Web designer in Dublin, Ireland or something like this, you know. So this is going to help with SEO. Obviously, when people are looking for images, they find your image. If they like it, they might visit your website and increase your chances, okay? So that's basically it. So clearly, this doesn't work properly. If you go back here and open this, the image is way too big. And then the text is here underneath, hidden in small and all that. So that doesn't work properly yet. But obviously, we need to apply some CSS code to this now, okay? So the flex container property is already in place. What we need to do is to set the about us to fit inside this properly. So we go back here, as you can see, we have this one that's set to 30%. So maybe you can set this one for our new property. So instead of my div name, we're going to fetch this one. So about us, so Control C, and then insert it here, Control V. And we're going to set this to maybe 48% again, because we only have 2 columns, you know. So let's try this first, see how it looks like. We don't have much changes at the minute, and that's because this image is still full size. So we need to apply CSS to the image as well to move along with the rest of the content, obviously, you know. So if you go back here, you can apply that individually as well. So as you can see, you can insert styling straight into your code here if you wanted to for specific items. So all you have to do is type style equals and then air quote, and then type the CSS code that you want to apply. So I'm going to say here max width, okay, set to maybe 95%, and then a semicolon, save, then refresh. And as you can see, now we do have 2 different columns and they are displaying absolutely fine. And here is our heading, but obviously because we set this as white here, we might want to change the color again specifically for this one here, okay? So we go back here. So this is our H2, and you can apply styling just to that line only. So style equals, and then air quotes, and then I'm going to say color, and then black, okay? And then save, refresh, and there you go. As you can see now, this is black just for this one. So that's another trick that you can have up your sleeve, you know. You can apply a CSS code per line if you wanted to without having to customize everything specifically in your CSS styling sheet here. And obviously you do the same with as many sections as you want to add on your website, okay? And then after this, what do you need? Well, on top, you need a header, and at the bottom, you need a footer. So in the header section, we can add maybe our logo, a menu section, and maybe a call to action button. And at the bottom, in the footer section, maybe the copyright or something like this, okay? So how do you do so? Well, it's very easy. Go back to your body here. So first, we're going to add a header. So this is our header. We're going to insert whatever we want in it, okay? And here, just before the body closing tag, you're going to add your footer, okay? Just like this, okay? And now we can insert whatever we want inside our header section and footer section. So let's create our author container. So we create a div first, okay? And this one, we're going to call it, say maybe header container, okay? Header container, very good. And inside there, we're going to insert our 3 containers. So we have basically, like we said, the logo, we'll have the main navigation, and also the call to action button. So we're going to add a div. Okay, so this one here is our first div. And then we'll have our nav, so navigation. So this is our menu. This is another function that you can use, which simplifies the protocol basically. And again, another div at the bottom, which will be for our call to action button. So let's give them a name. Okay, so this one class equals, let's call this one logo. Let's keep it simple, okay? So I'm just going to bring this down, and then we can insert whatever we want in the middle. The navigation remains navigation. And here, this one, we're going to call it maybe, let's say, CTA button, call to action button, or just CTA, just like this, okay? So let me move the air quotes here. That's it. Okay, so let's insert our logo here. So this is going to be an image, img, and then src equals, and then the destination. So it's in our images folder. Let me double check your images, and then / and then logo.png. That's why I called it. And then we can give it a name, maybe alt equals, and then Mr. Web logo or something like that. Okay. So this is our image, and we're going to add a bit of styling as well. So style equals, I'm going to make sure that the image is not too big. So I'm going to put max width, again, set to 95% of its inner container, okay? For the navigation, this is where we can add all the different links in our menu section. So for this, we're going to use ahref, So A and then href like this equals, and then in air quote, you're going to put the link to your actual page. So I'm going to put a hashtag for now, okay? And then closing statement here. And there you're going to put what it is. So maybe homepage, okay? So I'm going to copy this here underneath. Control V, Control V, Control V. And maybe you have about us. And maybe you have, let's say, services. And perhaps contact page, okay? Just like this. And obviously you would replace the hashtag here with the actual page itself and the link to the page, okay? And then we have the call to action button here. And for this, we're going to use ahref again. So ahref equals, and then you're going to put your actual landing page here, okay? And let's call this maybe, I don't know, get started or request a quote or something like this, whatever you want to call it. And because these are the same as those ones, maybe you can stylize this one separately. So we're going to give it a class name, and let's call it CTA button, okay? And then save. Very good. So let's go and refresh, see what it looks like. Wow, okay, so this is quite too big, to be honest. This is our menu section, no problem. And I don't see our, oh yeah, get started is here. This is our call to action button. So it doesn't look exactly precisely the way we want it just yet. But don't worry, it's because that image is way too big. And this is due to two different reasons, because we set the max width here, but from the inner container, and we haven't set the outer container, which is our header container. So clearly we need to apply some CSS first. So let's go back here and insert some code. So I've done that already to save us a bit of time now, okay? So this is basically the header container. I'm going to display this as flex. Align item center. I don't know if we need this, to be honest. We'll see, we'll try. And justify content space between. So if we save this and refresh, as you can see, now we have three different columns clearly there, you know. But our logo is still way too big. So we can go back here now, and instead of max width 95%, we can change this to maybe 95 pixels, okay? Save that, refresh. And there you go. As you can see, now we have three different columns. We have our logo, we have our menu section, and also the get started button. Okay, so now with all of this in place, let's take care of our footer section here. So normally in the footer section, we have the copyright claim, the name of the business, and then all right reserved, and then usually the year as well, okay? So let's scroll down here. We go to our footer section. So right here, we're going to install a little bit of HTML code. So for this, I'm just going to show you the code here. So I'm just going to copy and paste it. It's going to be a little bit faster. So Control V, okay. So I'm going to go back here and tab. So you have the add copy. So once you type this here, it will basically show the copyright sign. So let me save this, Control S and refresh. As you can see, this is the small c like this, you know, the copyright, and then your company name, and then all right reserved. So what we can do, maybe you want it on this side, maybe you want it centered. If you want it to center the whole section here, you can insert center tags just like this. So center, grab this one, and then put it here at the bottom, okay? And then delete this one, obviously, because we don't need it. And then put this one here, and then this one in the middle. And again, you have full hierarchy, you know, so this is our footer. You're going to center, and then the whole paragraph here. And now if you save and refresh, as you can see, now it's in the middle, okay? So now let's insert maybe our year as well. As you can see, spine ID. Now with this section here, as you can see, ID year, you can assign this to some JavaScript, and then we can display the actual year. So you don't have to change it every year, come back to it and replace 2024, 2025, 2026, and so on and so on. It will do that automatically. Now, if you wanted to insert a bit of JavaScript on your page here, where should you do that? Well, it's very simple. It normally goes at the bottom of your page, just before the closing body tag. So basically here, you would type script, enter, okay, just like that. And inside here, you're going to add the JavaScript. So I'm just going to show you the JavaScript here. I'm going to fetch it. So Control C and Control V. So we're not going to cover JavaScript today, but basically, as you can see, document, get element by ID. So this is our ID here, which is year. Okay, this is the same ID here, year. And the text content will be new, date, get full year. So that's basically JavaScript. And it's going to get the current year we are in. Okay, so let's save this and refresh. And as you can see, it says copyright 2025, your company name, all right reserved. So that's basically it for the main structure of our page here. So now let's move on to the next step. Very good. So now that we've covered the basics, let's have a look how you can use VS Code to your advantage, how you can optimize your workflow, what are the best practices as well, and how you can make your website look good in the front end using VS Code and a bit of CSS coding as well. Now we're going to see how we can build a contact form as well, which is quite tricky, to be honest. So let's dive into this now. Very good. So as you can see, I have those files opened in VS Code. So we have index.html and also style.css. And by the side, we still have our preview here in Google Chrome, and we can easily go from one window to the other. So why use VS Code in the first place? Well, it's super handy. It's packed with features, and it's going to save you a lot of time when coding pages like these. So let me show you a few features here. Okay, so let me add a bit of spacing here. So as you can see, we have a div class here, we have an image, we have ahrefs and all of these. So these are things that you will reuse constantly when designing and creating pages in HTML and CSS. And the beauty of this system with VS Code is that you have emmet shortcuts. So that's going to help you save a lot of time. So let me give you a few examples. So if you wanted to insert a paragraph here, normally you type brackets, P, and then the closing statement here. So that's going to take a lot of time, obviously, you know. Now with emmet shortcuts, you can simply type P, the letter P, and then the tab key. There you go, done already. And then we can do the same maybe with an image. So simply type img, tab, and as you can see, all you have to do now is to insert your link, the alt description here, and that's basically it, okay? So now let's add a div, tab. As you can see, the div has been created. And now let's crank this up a little bit so you can add a div and the class name immediately. So simply type div dot and then the class name and then tab. There you go. As you can see, it's been added for us automatically. We don't have to spend much time. Just simply type this, keystroke, and that's it. It's inserted for us. And you can do the same with the class ID. So hashtag and then ID name, tab. And there you go. You have a new div with a specific ID that's been added. And then we can even create structures preemptively. So let's add a div, a class name, okay? And then now we're going to use the greater than sign, and then we're going to add the substructure that we want to create. So maybe we want to add a heading, okay? H1, curly brackets, and then give it a name. So this is maybe the title, okay? And then plus maybe a paragraph underneath. So we're going to add P, and then curly brackets, and then content underneath, for instance, okay? And now hit the tab key and see what happens. And there you have it. As you can see, the div was created, our H1 title as well, and the paragraph underneath. And again, this is going to save us so much time. And then you can do the same, obviously, with bullet points. So if you were to create maybe UL, and then greater than, and then maybe you want 5 or 6 or 7 lines of bullet points underneath. So li times, let's say 7, and then tab. And there you go. It's added 7 different bullet points for us. And now you can type point number 1, point number 2, and so on and so on. And then we also have the ahref like we have underneath. So how do you insert these? Well, it's very simple. Simply type A, and there you go. Now, if you wanted to add directly your link here, you could have maybe a link. And that's the same principle, except you will add HTTP, so we don't have to waste time typing that again. It's an additional time that we can save, obviously, while we are coding. So this is the first feature I wanted to demonstrate. So let's delete this for now. Perfect. And also with VS Code by the side, you have the slider here, so you can easily locate different areas in your code. So you would know that the header is here. Maybe these are different paragraphs. When you have a long page of code, it's very easy for you to locate the place and go from one place to the other, just like this, okay? Also, on top of that, as you can see, it will highlight all the errors in your code. So we use center here, which is soon deprecated. So we clearly have to replace that to remain up to date. So now you could delete this and center that differently. Okay, so let's delete this and that, and let's add maybe a bit of styling code in our footer. And now from here, if you press the space bar, it will auto-complete and assume that you want to create a class name. So if you're happy enough, press the tab key again, and you might want to customize the footer name here, footer name altogether, okay? So now you can fetch this, Control-C, go to your styling feature here, and then add this to the bottom, okay? So Control-V. It will add automatically the curly brackets. Again, hit the tab key if you're happy enough. And then you can remove this and type your custom CSS code, okay? So let's go with text align, okay? And then you can select center and justify. As you can see, it's going to give you all the CSS options. So again, you don't have to think too much, you know. If it's center, select this, add the semicolon at the end, and then Control S to save, go back to the front end and refresh. And as you can see, it is still centered. Also, as you can glean from its name, it's called Visual Studio. So if you wanted to add a color here, a specific color, it will automatically give you a few different options. As you can see, aqua, aquamarine, beige, bisque, black, etc., etc. So let's go with black maybe. And as you can see, by the side, you have that small square. You can select the exact color that you want from the gradient panel here. So again, it's very handy, super easy, and you're going to save a lot of time. Instead of going back here, highlighting this, inspect, and select the color here, you can do that immediately from within VS Code. Okay, so now let me show you how you can improve your workflow by installing a live server. So what's the difference once you have a live server installed? Well, every time you're going to save your document, your HTML file or CSS, it will reflect back immediately in the front end without having to click refresh each and every time. And again, this is going to save you a little bit of time each and every time, okay? So for this, you need to get access to the extensions. So to access the extension, simply click Control, Shift, and X, or Command, Shift, X on Mac, and Control B to close the sidebar. So Control, Shift, X, or Command, Shift, X, and right here, look for Live Server. You have a few different options here. Make sure you select the one by Ritwik Day. So this is the most popular one. All you have to do is click install and then trust publisher and install. Very good. As you can see, this is installed. So you can close this and then Control B to close the sidebar. Excellent. So now to make sure that this is working properly, what you need to do normally is to open your files here as a folder. So what you can do is basically close them for now, file, and then open folder, select the whole folder where they are located and then select. Now hit Control B to find your files. You can see this is the structure of our website, okay? So open index.html, open style.css, very good. So you can have both of them together, as you can see, working together side by side. And I hit Control B again to hide this, okay? So basically, let's make some changes here, see if it will show up in the front end. So I'm just gonna add XXX right here and then save. And as you can see, this just moved and it will refresh automatically for us without having to click the refresh button here each and every time, which again is going to save us a lot of time. So if I do this, as you can see, I see immediately those changes taking place. Okay, so now that we've covered the basics, let's design our page to look something a bit more presentable. So normally on a website, you have the menu section, then immediately after that, the hero section, about us, my services, maybe a contact form, and then the footer section. So let's create that page, and then I'll show you how to upload that on your own server. So let's go ahead with this. Okay, so in between those two, between the menu section and the about us, let's insert a new section. So this is going to be our hero section, okay? So let's go ahead with this. So here by the side, as you can see, you have the header, we have the about us section. So maybe here in between those two, okay, we're going to create a section. And let's call this one hero. Let's keep it simple, okay? There you go. So this is our main section here. And inside this, we're going to insert a divider, a H1, a paragraph, and also a button, maybe request a quote or something like that. Okay, so let's insert a div. So div, and let's give it a name, maybe hero content. Yes, that's fine. And then we're going to have a H1, a paragraph, and a button. Exactly this. So hit tab, and that's it. It's all ready to go for us. As you can see, the paragraph and everything is there. And now we can remove all the spacing here. So I'm going to save this. Let's have a look. As you can see, welcome to Mr. Web Designer, your one-stop solution for web design solution, and then learn more. Very good. So now obviously we need to add a little bit of CSS to jazz this up because that doesn't look good at all. So we go to style.css. And let's take care of this, okay? So we go here at the bottom. So this is going to be the CSS code for our hero section. So what we do is comment out. So we're going to put here hero section so we know exactly what it is that we're working on. Very good. So first, let's add maybe a background color to our main hero section here. So this is our section hero, and then we'll take care of the other one. So you go step by step, obviously. And also the outer container, the main section here is called hero. So let's give it a color maybe. So dot hero, and then maybe a background color. Let's say, we'll see, we could add maybe a light gray maybe or something like this. Okay, so I'm going to select maybe beige for now. Okay, so this is the background color. The font of all that's going to be displayed inside, welcome and all that, could be white perhaps. So this is general, so color white. Okay, just keep it simple. And then we can add a bit of padding all around it. So padding. So padding works in a very simple way. So there's 4 values that you can insert here. So the 4 values is very simple. If you put 4 values here, it will go from top, right, bottom, left. So always remember it's from the top. So top value, the right one, the bottom one, and then the left one. Now if you put 3 values, it's top, right, bottom only. And now if you put 2 values, well, it's very simple. The first value is for top and bottom, and the second value is for right and left. Okay, so in our case here, let's add maybe 100 pixels and 20 pixels, just like this. And again, if you put only 2 values, top, bottom, and then left and right for the second value. Okay, and then text align center. I'm happy enough with that. So tab, and that's all for now. And then next we have the hero content. So it's this one here. So I'm going to fetch this value, Control C. Let's go back here. And then again, we're going to enter some criteria here. So for this, we're going to get max width and margin. We're going to select this. So tab here. And we're going to select the margin to be auto and the max width maybe 800 pixels. Okay, we can save for now. Okay, so let's go back here. And as you can see, welcome to Mr. Web Designer, heading, subheading, and the button here. And we have a very nice hero section indeed. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of that beige color, so maybe you can change this, you know, select another one. I'll go maybe in the blue shades or something like this, you know, maybe a blue like this one. Okay, so let's save. Okay, that's a lot better already. Okay, there's more contrast with the text and all that, you know. So what we can do is maybe make our heading a bit more prominent, a bit more thicker. So this is basically the one here. So this is H1, okay? So we can change our H1 from within the hero section. So how do you do so? As you can see, it's suggesting it here. So if you type .hero H1, it will apply to the H1 only within that section here. So there you go. You can insert it like that. And let's customize this. So as you can see, it says 50 pixels for the size and the margin bottom, maybe 20 pixels. So let's try it. Okay, Control S. And there you go. That's a lot better indeed, you know. So we can do the same with the subheading as well. Our paragraph here. So let's go ahead with this. So .hero, as you can see, it's suggesting it as well. So tab, and let's say maybe 20 pixels here. Okay, that's fine, I think. And 30 pixels for the margin bottom. So Control S, and there you go. That's perfect, isn't it? Now, obviously, you can fine tune this. Maybe you want 28 pixels instead, you know. You have to try a few different things, obviously. So I think that's fine the way it is at the minute. Okay, so now let's customize our button here. So clearly it's just a link at the moment. Okay, so let's get the class name. So CTA button, so call to action button. So we go here, .CTA button, and then tab. As you can see, it's going to add this automatically for us. So let's try this. Okay, so Control S, see what it looks like. Okay, not too bad at all. And as you can see, we have the same class name here and there. So maybe we can change the name of this one instead, you know, and customize it afterwards. So we go back here, and remember in the hero section, in our menu section, sorry, we have the CTA button as well. And this one, I'm going to call it header. Okay, so it's a different one, and then save. There you go. As you can see, now it only applies to this one here. Okay, so I'm happy enough with that. Now you can make a few changes if you wanted to, you know, but by default, he's going to suggest this, which is absolutely fine already, you know. Now, obviously, normally on a button, if you hover, it would change color. So we don't have this at the minute. And to be honest, I don't like the underline here, learn more. I'm not too happy with that, you know, so we can remove that as well. So for this, we go back here. So that's basically the same sequence, CTA button, but we're going to specify it's on hover. Okay, so I'm just going to change this to hover. Just like this, and then tab and accept the color here. So let's save this, see what happens. Okay, as you can see, when we hover now, there's a change of color, which is better, you know. So there's feedback for your visitors. Obviously, they know it's a button. And like I said, I don't like the underline here, learn more. I think this is unnecessary, so we can remove that. So we go to our main button here, and we're going to put text decoration. This is the one here, okay, and decoration none. Okay, so none. Sorry, I missed this now. Perfect. Okay, so save. Let's go back here, and as you can see, this is gone now. So I think that looks pretty cool. Now let's say if you wanted to add a background image here instead of the color that we have. You know, sometimes the color is fine, a nice contrast and all that. Maybe you want to add an image instead. So we have the background color here. We might want to change this slightly to insert an image instead. So for this, we're going to change the background color. So our hero is here, as you can see, background color. So instead of background color, we're going to use the background feature itself. So I'm just going to delete this for now. So background image, and as you can see, it's offering this automatically. So what we're going to do is slightly different. So background, and we're going to select a specific URL. Okay, so tab. And here we're going to enter the actual URL. So I'm just going to hit tab again. So we have a full complete section here. And then I'm going to add the actual URL and link to my page. Okay, so I'm just going to remove this in between. Don't know why this is so long, but anyways, let's delete this. Perfect. So for us, it's going to be on my hard drive. So /images, and I call it hero.jpg. Okay, so there it is. So Control S. And as you can see, now we have an image in the background. So that looks very, very good. As you can see, it says no repeat, center cover. So basically, this is the function to say that no repeat is just one image, and it's going to cover the whole space here available using the image. Now, this image I'm using is 1900 wide, so there's plenty of space. But depending on the image you have, you know, it might stretch it out to take the whole space here. So clearly there's no contrast now anymore. So what we can do is add maybe an overlay color on top. So the trick for this is to add a hero and then a before. So dot hero, semicolon, semicolon, and then before. As you can see, this is the statement I'm going to use. So we're going to hit the tab key, okay, just like this, and we can fill this out naturally. So top, left, right, bottom, this is normal, position absolute, and then this is the color you're going to choose, okay? So let me save for now. So as you can see, it's displaying on our page, but it's clearly overlapping over our content here. So for this, we need to make a small change. We're going to go to the hero section here and set the position of our hero section as relative. Okay, just like this. So now if I save this, oh, sorry, position here, typo, there you go. So Control S, and there you go. As you can see, now it will only cover our hero section. So now we have a bit of an issue because the overlay is also on top of our heading, subheading, and the button, which is not cool, obviously, because I have no contrast now. So we have to bring this forward a little bit, okay? So for this, we go to our hero content here, and we're going to use Z index. So this is the function here, set it to 1. And the position relative as well, as you can see, is suggesting it automatically. So tab and then save. And as you can see, now that looks super cool, to be honest, you know. Very good. So let's customize the part here underneath. So we have the about us and also our services. So maybe you can add a background color, a bit of padding, a bit of breathing space in between. So it'll be in line with this, you know. I think that would look cool. So for this, let's go back here. This one is called flex container, as you can see. Okay, so this is the about us section. So I can copy this, Control C, go straight to the bottom now, and then add flex container. I'm just going to hit the tab key, see what it looks like, Control S. So that makes no changes, that's fine. So what we're going to do is add a background color, okay? And maybe I'm going to select some gray or something like this. I'm just going to say gray for now, okay? Enter, so Control S. So you can see the frame is all around it. So what we can do is to add a bit of breathing space on top and bottom. So this would be one thing. And also it's maybe a bit too dark, you know. So let's select a brighter shade, maybe just around here. So let's try this. Okay, that's better. Yeah, I like it better. Maybe even brighter a little bit, just like that. So let's see. Okay, perfect. So like we said, we need a bit of breathing space. That's too close, obviously, you know. So we're going to add a bit of spacing here. So we have the image here. So which one is this again? So this is the div class about us. So Control C, and then we go back here and add a line. So dot about us. And then we're going to add our own code here. So it's going to be a background color. No, we don't need it. We need margin on top, or maybe padding top. Padding on top. Okay, so padding top. We're going to add maybe, let's say 50 pixels for now. Okay, so save. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, this is what we wanted. And as you can see, it's not really lined up with this one. So I'm going to add a padding as well. Left, perhaps let's try maybe 5 pixels for now. See what happens. Okay. Okay, this is lined up now, perfect. Then obviously we want to add a bit of breathing space here underneath as well. So while we're at it, let's go with padding bottom. Then we're going to add 50 pixels as well. Okay, so Control S, there you go. So this is basically our About Us section. We have our services here. So let's see if this is responsive now, because we applied responsiveness to those 3 sections here. So let's try this one here. So I'm just going to zoom in, okay? So let's see what happens. So this is side by side rather than on top of each other. So what we need to do basically now is to, like I said, apply some responsiveness to it, okay? So let's do that together. So same principle as this one here. I'm just going to copy the code, okay? So what we need to do is to turn this into a flex section. So here we're going to add a bit of code. So I'm going to add this, and then again we're going to set this to add media max width. So I'm just going to copy the code. I tried it out already. It's the same principle as before. Okay, so what we're going to do is to set it as flex, and as you can see, this is the width here, 48% instead of the full width. Border box like we had before, and margin 1%. Then set this to 768 pixels, in which case it will align center and flex on top of each other rather than like we had it before. Very good. So as you can see, now it's displaying on top of each other. But if I zoom out, as you can see, it will be side by side. Normally it would be 100%. This is a normal size screen, like most visitors would see it on their screen, you know. So as you can see, the image is fully spread out here, and we have our 2 different columns. But if I zoom out, it will act as a mobile phone, and the same here with the other ones. If you increase again the height, it will show on top of each other. So now clearly you may have noticed they don't break at the same time. It's because we disabled some CSS here. So if you go back to the top, remember we commented this out. So what we need to do now is to remove those this code here, and it should display properly. As you can see now, it's breaking up the exact same way at the same time. So let's zoom out and let's see the finished product, and this is absolutely perfect. So normally 100% would be the same view as normally anyone would have, you know, on their laptop or desktop or any device of that size, and this is absolutely fine. So let's carry on with the rest. So here we have our services. I don't think that looks good, you know, it's fine as a basic layout, just to show you how this works, but let's jazz this up a little bit. So this is my title, so let's see what this is again. My div name. So let's go and find my div name. There it is. So let's make a few changes here. So maybe we can have the background color set to white. Okay, so I'm going to select white here, just like this. Perfect. And then we're going to have maybe a border radius, you know, to round this up a little bit. So border radius, let's go maybe with 8 pixels. Okay. And then we could have maybe a box shadow. Okay. Box shadow, just to see what it looks like. So for box shadow, it's 4 values. I'm going to set the first one. As you can see, you can follow as it is going to give you here all the instructions. Just tab, you know, and it should be fine. And then we can transition, have a transition, maybe, hold on, transition, okay, transition. And then as you can see, it's going to give you a few different options here. So the one we're going to use is transform, okay, and then 0.2 seconds. And then we're going to even add ease out as an example. Okay, so let's save this for now, see what happens. As you can see, this looks a lot better, obviously, you know. So what we need now is maybe on hover, have a different effect as well. So let me show you a nice trick. So I have a line ready here. I'm just going to copy and paste it here just underneath, save it. And now if you hover on top, as you can see, they'll go slightly up. There's a small, as you can see, transform, translate Y by -5 pixels. So it go on top. Now, if you want to add 5 pixels, you go at the bottom, basically, you know, that's the other effect, basically goes down instead of going up. So either way is absolutely fine, you know, that's really up to you what you want to do with it. I think that looks a lot better. Now, obviously, our heading now is not displaying properly anymore because we had it set to white, but because our background is white, now we have to change that, obviously, you know. So let's go back to our HTML. So div class, my div name and h2. So what we're going to do is to set the h2 from within my div name. So we just go here and change this underneath. So dot my div name and then h2. Okay, so h2, and we only apply to this section itself. Okay, so here we're going to put the color. Let's say black. I'm just going to select black here. Okay, just like this. So Control S, And as you can see now, it is showing absolutely fine. So what we can do now is add a bit of text here and actually use this as our services. But you can see there's a bit of padding all around it. Is because we had a line of code that we had at the start. Now we can delete this, obviously, and have a quick look. So save this. Very good. And now we can add this to my div name, obviously, because we made those changes. You have to adapt, obviously. So I'm going to go padding and I'm going to put maybe 10 pixels all around. Okay. So let's save this now. Okay, this is perfect. I'd say maybe a little bit more, maybe 15 pixels altogether. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, this is perfect. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add actual content here, real proper content. So that way it'll be easier for us to visualize what it actually looks like. Okay, so I'm going to go to index.html and I'm going to insert some content here. So there you go. I've added a little bit for the About Us section as well, and those 3 different services. So you can see I have, hi, I'm David, and a bit of explanation here about us. And then our 3 different services, so web design, e-commerce, and maybe maintenance. Add a bit of explanation just underneath. Now, clearly the text is a little bit too small, so we can go back to style. So this is our paragraph. So instead of 12 pixels, let's try 18. See what happens. Okay, so this is pretty fine. Okay, so we're almost there. So what I'd like to do is to add a bit of breathing space here at the bottom. So because this is a flex container for both of them, I just want to apply it underneath this section. So underneath those my div name. So what we can do is to add maybe some margin here underneath our my div name. Okay, so margin, let's say bottom. Okay, and let's add maybe 50 pixels in this case, and we'll be happy enough with that. So save. And there you go. As you can see, there's a bit of breathing space. That looks a lot better. And then we have our copyright statement just underneath. Okay, so this is pretty fine. So what we need to take care of is our menu section, which doesn't look good at all, obviously. We need to make it bigger and also change those links so they look presentable, and also the same with our button here. Okay, so let's do that now. So let's go back to our structure first. So this is the one we have here. So now this is our menu. You can change this, and also we have the header container. Maybe you can make the height here a little bit bigger, obviously, So let's take care of our navigation first, our menu. So we go here at the bottom. So nav A. So this is for the actual links, in our section. As you can see, these are hyperlinks. And then we can just type tab here. We're going to accept all of this, and we can tweak things around a little bit. Let's try this first, see what it looks like. Okay, so we can't see nothing because the color is white. So obviously we need a different color, maybe here. So save, perfect. And now if you hover on top, I would like the color to change slightly, or maybe have an underline. Okay, so nav hover, there you go, perfect. So save. As you can see, the color will change. That's not too bad, actually, that's not a bad idea. So what we can do maybe is to change this to text decoration, and we're going to add maybe underlined altogether. Save, and let's have a quick look. There you go. Now we know it's a hyperlink. Okay, so now clearly that doesn't look really good. We need a bit more breathing space on top and bottom. So for this, again, we go back here. So this is called the header container. So we can go back here. And again, dot header container, curly brackets. Let's try what it's suggesting here. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that's not too bad. As you can see, it's adding a little bit of a background color and all that. You can change that as you see fit. So perhaps you could use the same color we have here in the background, so it'll be in line with it, So I'm just going to change this to our actual code that we have. Okay, so that's the exact same color now. So save. And as you can see now, this is in line. It looks like it's part of the actual same website. So that looks pretty cool. So we're nearly there, guys. What we need to do now is to have our call to action button here, change it up a little bit. So what is this one called? So let's go back here and see what's the name. So it's called CTA simply. Okay, so control C. Oh no, sorry, CTA control header. So this is the one here, and then go back here, dot, and see what it's going to suggest for us. Let's agree with this. Save. And there you go. We have our button sorted here as well, in line with the one we have there. So that looks absolutely pretty cool. We've built that page in less than an hour now. I've showed you all the ropes. And now, as promised, I'm going to show you how you can create a contact form and receive inquiries directly via email. So for this, maybe you can create a new section here underneath. With your details, maybe your address, perhaps, phone number, email address, and just next to it, a contact form. And I'm going to show you how you can receive all these inquiries directly in your mailbox. Okay, so let's go ahead with this. We go back to our HTML here. So let's scroll down to bottom. So as you can see, just before the footer, this is where we're going to insert it. Okay, so we're going to insert a div, and let's call it again flex container, so we can reuse the same responsive layout, you know. So let's add this. Perfect. And I'm going to give it another name as well while we're at it, contact wrapper as well, because I'd like to change the color. Otherwise, if you use flex container, it'd be gray like this one. I like to give it a different color, in which case if you use contact wrapper, I can apply different CSS code just for this one. Okay, and then here we're going to add maybe H2, so H2, and then the title will be, I don't know, get in touch or something like this. Okay, that would be absolutely fine. And then we'll have our paragraph after this, obviously, you know, so P, and then I don't know, Mr. Web Design perhaps. Okay, I'm going to put this in bold perhaps as well while we're at it. It's probably easier. I should have thought about it and put it before, but anyway, so this is our Mr. Web Design. And now let's go with the address here, which is absolutely fine. So I'm just going to type tab. The phone number, I'm happy enough with this as well. So tab. And then what do we need now? The email address. Okay, so P again. So let's type email. And then for this, we're going to add the actual email address. So I'm going to just put Mr. Web, hello at mrweb.tv. So something you can do basically is to add an ahref as well. So if you type A here again, you know, just like this, you can type mail to, semicolon, and then your actual email address. So hello at mrweb.tv. So that means that if anyone clicks on that link and they have their mailbox ready, they can send you an email immediately, and you want to display what it looks like in the front end. So you still have to type it here again so it's visible, you know. So let's save this and see what it looks like for now. So as you can see, we have it here. So this is displaying fine. But again, like we said, we're going to insert this in one column, maybe on the left-hand side, and then the form on the other side. Okay, so what we need to do is basically create a div here. Okay, so div, and then one side will have maybe contact info. Okay, so contact info, so tab, and I'm going to grab this and put it at the end. Okay, so just right here, Control V. So now we need to indent all of this, so tab just like this in the middle. Okay, so now let's create another div here. So let's call this one maybe contact form then. Yeah, contact form. Perfect. And now inside this, we're going to insert the form. So this is when it becomes a little bit tricky. So let me show you how you can create a contact form. Okay, so let's create a H2 again. Okay, so we're going to say maybe send us a message. And here underneath, we are going to create our forms. Very good. And as you can see, it's going to suggest the form automatically because we put contact form here. So let's go ahead with this. So tab, okay. And now let me explain everything here. So first, I'm going to save. So Control S, and right here, as you can see, we have get in touch in one column and then send us a message in the other one. Now I'd like this color to be different, but don't worry, we'll take care of this in a moment. Let's focus on the menu, the form for now. Okay, so a form will always start with a form tag, which by the way is not closed here. So we should close this and form. Perfect. And as you can see, you have the content of your form. So how does that work? So you have two different sections. You have the label and then the input field. So the field is this one basically. Okay, so this is your field. And on top you have name, as you can see here. Okay, so this is your label. Okay, so this is basically how you can change that. So is it required or not? So you can set it as required here immediately from there. And then you can set the different rows if it's a text area. So text area here, as you can see, you can slide it open if you wanted to. Now, if you want to change this, maybe I could put 8 rows. If I save, as you can see, it'll be slightly bigger. So this is, so I've compiled that for you already. So as you can see here, these are the different fields you can use. So text, email, password, number, telephone, URL, search, date, time, month, week, color, file. Can even upload a file if you wanted to, you know, so pretty handy. So checkbox and radio, range, hidden, submit, etc., etc. So it's a very comprehensive way of creating a contact form, you know, and those fields can be inserted here any way you see fit, obviously. So once you have your form created, which is basically what we have here, the different fields and also the labels. So as you can see, name, email, and message. What can you do with it? Well, once they click send, what's going to happen? Well, this is the action here. So all the forms are designed the same way. You'll have the same line on top. So normally for this, we need to create a submit form.php file. So this is PHP language, basically. It's not what we're going to cover today, obviously. Today is just HTML and CSS. So I'm going to show you a method that you can use without doing any of the heavy lifting. And the method is post, because this is what we want to do, is to post it and send it to your own email address. Okay. So what can you do if you don't want to create any PHP file and link it together? Because to be honest, it's not that simple, you know, I'll be honest with you. So I have a method here that I'm going to introduce that's absolutely super simple. And the best part is completely free. So this is the solution we are going to use. It's called formsubmit.co. So this is the link to the website. I'll leave that in the description below. So what you need to do is basically add a little line of code added to your form. As you can see, form action equals, and instead of the PHP file that we have here at the moment, you replace that with https formsubmit.co followed by your email address. And that's all. You just need to make sure that the email is correct. So as you can see, you need to make sure that input type email and name is email. And apart from that, that's all you need. Again, completely free and no registration required. So that's all we need now. Okay, so let's insert this together. So instead of our form action equals submit PHP, again, we're going to insert this one. Okay, so let me copy this. So Control C, let's insert it here, Control V, and followed by our email address. So hello@mrweb.tv. Okay, so let's save this. And now let's go to our form and put this to the test. Okay, so I'm going to put my name here. So John Doe. And my email address, john.doe@gmail.com, and my message. So this is my message, okay? So send message. Very good. Check your email. So there's a confirmation. Obviously, we'll go through formsubmit.com. So this is gone, okay? So this is perfect. And just to show you the result, this is what it looks like. So this is my mailbox and this form submit. And I just received this from my current URL, you know. So I have john.gmail.com, and this is my message. So we did receive that perfectly. So 100%. And now we can take care of the CSS code and jazz this up a little bit. So now you get the whole gist and how it works. So what I'm going to do is basically copy and paste this here. I'm going to save that. If you go back here, as you can see, this looks absolutely fine. Now we have a new layout for the footer section. Get in touch, the name, address, phone number, and the email address, and also our contact form. And if you go back on top, as you can see, we have a beautiful hero section, our header, about us, our services. And there you go, guys. We've built our website using only HTML and CSS. Excellent. So now that we have our website design up and running on our computer, what we need to do now is to upload that to an actual server so that people can access it via domain name. So let me show you how we can do that now. And for this, open your favorite web browser and type in mrweb.tv/hosting-a-deal and then press enter. Or simply click on the link in the description where it says mrweb.tv/hosting-a-deal. And this is going to bring you to this landing page that we have on our website. And from here, you can unlock your exclusive hosting discount. Now, check this out, guys. You can save up to 75% and an extra 10% on top. So as you can see, your deal is ready. So to find out how much you can save, all you have to do is scroll down the page, pick your hosting plan below. So there's 3 different plans. You have premium, business, and cloud startup. So what is this about? As you can see, this one is for up to 25 websites, this one up to 50 websites, and this one you can host up to 100 different websites. So to be honest, for the type of project we have in mind at the minute, this one is absolutely fine. So the normal cost is $11.99, and as you can see, if you hover on top, this is the price before discounts, obviously. And to find out how much you can save, all you have to do is to click on this button here. Now, with Hostinger, you get a lot of free stuff as well. You get free domain name, which is worth $9.99 normally, free backup, free SSL certificate, and free migration as well. Now, when it comes to the SSL certificate, it's unlimited, which is great because you can host up to 25 different websites. Now, to find out exactly how much you can save, so this is the regular price, $11.99. So let's click on this here, unlock my savings, and let's find out how much you can save today. So click on this button here. Very good. And as you can see, you are now securely redirected to the Hostinger shopping cart. So this has been done automatically for you guys. As you can see, the normal price, $11.99. Now you got 75% savings. And on top of that, the coupon code Mr. Web has been applied already. So you save 85% in total. So instead of paying $11.99 per month, Now it's only going to cost you $2.69 per month. So all you have to do now is to proceed to checkout, and then you'll be redirected to this simplified onboarding process. Now, normally this is for WordPress users. So again, that doesn't apply to us, okay? So click on the hosting logo to go back to the dashboard and then confirm. Very good. So the first thing you need to do is to claim your free domain, okay? So click on this here, claim domain, and then type the domain name you'd like to register. So Mr. Web HTML CSS as an example, check availability. And to register your domain, all you have to do is click domain and follow the steps. And once your domain is registered, you can go to domains and then domain portfolio, and then click on the domain name that you want to use. So mrwebamazon.com as an example here. Okay, so click on this. Very good. And now you go to manage your website. And now we can upload our files. Okay, so by the side, you have files here. Click on this, file manager, and then access files from mrwebamazon.com. Click on this. Excellent, and then go to your public HTML folder. And now you can upload the content of our website right here in the public.html folder. So click on this arrow here, upload, select file. So I've saved it as an archive, as a zip file. Okay, so open. Very good. And now we need to extract this. So right click, extract. Very good. And then here simply type a dot and then extract. Very good. As you can see, now we have a file, index, the images, and our CSS folder. Now we can delete this one. Okay, perfect. So let's have a look at our website in the front end. So you can go back to hosting a dashboard and click on this. It's going to open in a new tab. And there you go, guys. You can see this is our landing page with our different services, our contact form, and the footer section right here. And there you go. We have a fully up and running website, fully functional in just an hour. So there you go, guys. These are all the essentials that you need to know in order to get you started with HTML and CSS. Now, obviously, I'm going to keep on uploading more content, more intermediate content as well. So feel free to let me know what type of project do you want me to build using HTML, CSS, and maybe do you want a mixture also of JavaScript on top of it to add a bit of features and spice things up a little bit. So let me know in the comment section what you want me to build next time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.